The board I'm using is quite large, which besides my mural is the largest painting I've ever done. Honestly, it was not as daunting as I anticipated it being, other than dealing with the physical space working around it. I do like the amount of detail and small things I was able to incorporate that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. It kind of reminded me of digital art in a way where I could move closer to one part of the canvas and work in sort of like isolated sections. So I started working on this painting back near the end of May. So in total, the project was about 3.5 to around 4 months in progress, which is a bit on the longer side of my kind of like painting times. Usually I get it done in about a couple weeks to a month, but due to the size of this canvas, it definitely took longer. If I had the studio space to keep this project going for longer, I definitely would leave it to rest for a bit and then go back and do another layer of detail, which I was debating on doing when I came back for reading week in October, but I don't think I will. My main purpose of this painting was to add a large oil painting component to my professional artistic portfolio. I needed like a strong oil painting to demonstrate my style and kind of be a bit of a standout piece. So I do want to explain a little bit of the meaning of this painting and kind of the thought process behind it. So the title of this painting is Severed. I wanted to make something to represent the harshness of decisions and commitment to severing a part of yourself or part of your life to make room for future growth. The certain components, such as the growing vines creeping in from behind, the unfinished dress still in progress of being sewn, and the figure cutting her hair, are all representations of kind of grieving what you're leaving behind and how difficult it is to cut it off, and almost like abandon unfinished projects for the sake of branching into new things. Because if you spend the time to wrap up everything and dwell before moving on, you'll never move on. So that's kind of what this painting is about. There is a few components that I wasn't really thinking about. They were just kind of thrown in there, like the skull, which I feel like is kind of a signature of mine, but I just really like painting skulls. And I could argue that the kind of frame archway around her could be a sort of like box that she's in, and the vines could be like her her mind reaching out, but that's a bit far-fetched. And also, all of my work is pretty well up to interpretation. I know that every person will look at a painting and see something different, so yeah, what do you guys think? I want to hear your interpretations in the comments. So I'm gonna do a little more work at the bottom here. It is gonna be a little more difficult because I'm gonna have to like prop this up on something or sit on the floor. But I need to figure out the anatomy of like this. I'm gonna have to revisit that, and also outlining the items on the floor, especially this corner because it's very like kind of roughly thrown there. I need to grab some more paintbrushes because right now this is the smallest brush I'm working with, and it is pretty small, it's pretty good, but it's not small enough to do like the really detailed stuff, and especially for the face, to kind of like fix it how I want to, I do need a smaller brush. I don't know when the best point would be, but I do need to do the background behind the leaves. I think I'm gonna do it a kind of dark blue, almost black. Before I do that though, I am gonna take a photo and on my iPad kind of do a mock-up, because it's quite a commitment to do like as much color as that, so I need to make sure it's the right decision before I go ahead and do it. You're gonna get oil paint all over you. Get away. The painting went through a few phases / iterations as I was working on it. I did have a bit of difficulty choosing the colors and juxtaposing the items. It was easy for the figure because it's just kind of in the middle, and the archway border makes it look kind of like automatically harmonious, but the smaller items on the floor and all that was a bit more difficult. And I did have some constructive criticism from my last video, which I mentioned, or I believe it was my last video, I mentioned this painting and showed it off a little bit. Yeah, and I had some feedback that I thought was really helpful, so I changed up a little bit of the painting just to kind of see if it would look better, and it definitely helped. Yeah, every painting of mine is a learning experience for me. So painting this, I definitely learned things like I definitely need to practice painting textiles and fabric more often. I know how to draw it and use graphite to draw it, but I never really realized that I'm not very good at painting textiles, so that's on the list of things to practice, hopefully in my new sketchbook and future pieces. It was also challenging to work with the kind of like awkward size of the canvas itself. I think this is a common problem where I plan out the painting, but somewhere in the process of transferring the sketch, the size gets totally screwed up and I have to redo a lot of things. Anyways, lots of things to take away from this painting, but I'm generally very happy with this painting. It's been a while since I did a large-scale painting that wasn't for school or some gallery deadline, so it's nice to kind of let myself work kind of when I wanted to. I do have a deadline of August 28th, which this video will definitely be coming out after August 28th because I'm moving and that is kind of messing up my timeline. But yeah, definitely not as tight of a schedule as it would have been with like a school project or gallery stuff, or even like commissions. Since it is summertime, I am working most of the time, but in the gaps in my schedule and way more late nights than I'm willing to admit, I found at least some time to paint. And I'm really excited that I was able to do a project so big. And I'm definitely gonna make it kind of a yearly goal to have at least one big project like this. Like for this year, it was this painting, and last year, it was my mural project. So, thinking once a year, I'll do something like this. I'm very excited for this coming fall semester because I'm finally going to be in a program that's entirely art focused. It's always been a sort of dream and goal of mine to go to post secondary for fine arts, and eventually I want to move into a larger city and study and work as an artist, which is my very idealized future that probably won't happen, but this is kind of my first step to reach that. I'm moving a few hours away from home and living in a city that I'm not super familiar with, but overall, I'm just super excited to experience new things. And as anxious as I am, I love traveling and finding my way and meeting new people. In future vlogs, you'll definitely see a glimpse, maybe even more than a glimpse, into my college experience. I have many things planned, but I'm also excited to see what happens when I don't have plans. I'm in the process of packing right now, and I leave on the 28th of August, so it's coming up really fast. But definitely super excited. I do think there's a lot of discourse online based on like if it's worth it to go to art school, and especially for the fine arts and that stuff like graphic design and all that, but it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I think that art school definitely is not for everybody, but my personal learning style and also the networking opportunities are going to be very helpful for me. And also, I think it's a really nice way to meet new people and find new peers and work on projects alongside other people. Yeah, so you're definitely going to be seeing lots of that because I also have a new vlog camera. I guess I got it back in May. I haven't really had a ton of chances to go around using it because I am at home, but once I'm out back in college and I have some more opportunities to take my camera out, and yeah, super excited. I know this is kind of me rambling now, but I do have one more thing to say. I'm wrapping up my sketchbook really, really soon. Hopefully, I was hoping by the time I move out, it might be a little after that now. I'm not too sure. But I'm gonna work on filling the sketchbook so I can move on to a new one. And then hopefully that means I will have a sketchbook tour out for you guys very, very soon. Yeah, I really do like doing sketchbook tours because I think they're just so. I like talking about my art process and kind of walking you guys through it's usually like a year in my life just through my art because it is really like a journal. And then my next sketchbook, I'm planning on getting a larger size. So I'm going to be doing a lot more like finished paintings and larger figure studies and a lot more cluttered pages because I have been using the A5 size for a very long time now. And yeah, I want to switch it up. I like working big. I'm hoping at this school I will have enough studio space to continue doing paintings outside of classes, but it might be kind of constrictive to just class projects. I don't really know. I'm kind of just seeing where the wind takes me these next few months. So, a little bit of some updates on this painting just while I'm working on this little section here. All I really have left to do is finish the dress and the top section of the pillar on the right side, and then touch up the foliage and do kind of like minor details on the rest of the painting. I am gonna wait. I'm gonna let it dry for a good until like mid-October when reading week is, and I'm gonna varnish it. Definitely not my largest painting because I have painted a mural before, but that was in acrylic paint and it wasn't as well, it was pretty detailed, but it wasn't as like minutely detailed as this one, or as this one is like going to be when it's done. The purpose for this painting is to kind of be a staple in my professional portfolio, kind of just to prove or show that I'm fairly decent at project organization and doing large scale multi-component things, and also showing my skill in like balancing and then also different components like the figure and then the items and then the more architectural components and like the foliage and the way I'm using color. The hardest part of this right now is to kind of like persuade myself that it's interesting to paint the same thing over and over again. Like, I've been working on these background leaves or vines, and then I'm basically copying and pasting this pillar on this side to go on this side, and I'm just like, this is so much fun. I have, like, you know, YouTube videos, podcasts, all that stuff, but I don't know. I get home from work and I'm exhausted, and then I'm like, oh fun, I get to do the boring part of the painting that I've been putting off, but now I have to do it all at once. Fun, fun, fun. Also, my tripod, I have this little attachment that makes it so I can put my camera on it, and I lost the attachment, so technically I don't have a tripod right now. That's why you're getting this like amazing angle on a suitcase. So there might be a little more gaps in this specific section of the painting, or like this part of the video, because I can't technically or like logistically put my camera on the tripod without the tripod attachment until I find it. So today's gonna be my last day working on this painting. I move in 2 days, so I have to have this done. I did want to get this finished a little earlier in the month, but I have been working a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this painting today. I did get a little bit of critique back, a little bit of areas to work on, so I'm gonna start with those first. Just a little more like certain values that I think need to be defined more. It was pointed out this hand here, or like this little section here, I'm gonna change the colors a little bit and make it a little more dimensional, and then I'm just gonna finish the dress part like down here, because yeah, I think the paint's finally a little like tacky enough for me to do a second layer there, and then after that it's pretty much done. It's been a really nice journey working on this painting. I've had a lot of fun, learned a lot of things, like I talked about earlier, and yeah. And then also for my inspiration, I do use Pinterest a lot. So my Pinterest is going to be linked in the description below. I don't usually link it, but I think this painting I used a lot of Pinterest references. And also I have I have a very extensive art inspiration board that I've been adding to since about 2017. So if you want to see pieces I take inspiration from and like specific elements that I have taken inspiration from other artists, go check that out, because I see a lot of great artists on there and they very much inspire my ideas and my art style, and it's a lot of help, so I'll link that below. But yeah, let's get painting. Also, I'm having a bad hair day today, so we're not going to talk about how frizzy my hair is. So I am in the same spot as I was earlier, but now the painting's done. Mostly what I did was I did a little bit to this dress here, a little bit to that upper corner that I don't think you can really see, but I did stuff. And then I just touched up some of the edges. In the next few days, if I do find a few more things that I realize that are need to be tweaked, I will go ahead and tweak them. But for now, I think it's finished. Pretty proud of this one, and very excited to go working on my next project. So, yeah, thank you all so much for watching to this point in the video. I know that people don't like to watch the end of my videos, so if you made it this far in the video, um, maybe comment a coffee cup emoji, and I will know that you're better than everybody else. No, I'm kidding. But you can comment the emoji. If you comment the emoji, I will draw you something in my sketchbook, whatever you request. And I do know that this is going to be a little bit on the longer side of a video. I'm not sure how long, probably about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. But this is a very long video to sit through, so thank you for doing that. I'm going to clean up the mess I've made at my oil painting station here and pack it all up into boxes. And so yeah, the next time you guys will see me on this channel, I will either be in the process of moving out or already moved out and setting up my new space, which I can't paint in, which is a big thing, but you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.